Greetings Guardians, my name is Byf here. Super quick video compared to most of the usual fare, and also it's something which I wanted to get out there quickly to you so there is no script. It's a little bit of a fly by the seat of my pants kind of moment here, so excuse the rough edits and quick chops. Martin, who is the editor, normally is working on the third part of that massive Dragon series, and that's all about Riven herself. However, I wanted to actually discuss something a little bit different, which was a potential secret that was shown off from the very few promotional pieces of work that have been shown of Season of the Wish thus far. Even though we've only got just 2 images and a short teaser trailer, there are potentially secrets worth talking about even just in these. But first, a word from our sponsors at StarForge. If you're looking for an amazing PC without any of the hassle of constructing one yourself, look no further. StarForge is your team. Normally, using my discount code for one of these sponsors gives you a really great discount as is, but this time there's something extra special. Until the 27th of November, you can also benefit from their Black Friday sale, which means you'll get an additional $100 off. Now, of course, that's great for any PC, including the top-of-the-line ones that have some of the latest GPUs. However, you could also just use it on one of the more affordable PCs, like the Horizon 2, to get it at a significant discount. Every PC comes with a 2-year labor and parts warranty as well, so don't hesitate. Grab yourself a PC over at StarForge today. Thanks to StarForge Systems for sponsoring this video. Anyway, back to the lore. So this entire mystery really starts with the alt text of the image that can be found on Twitter, this image here. The alt text for this image of Mara standing in front of what is clearly an Ahamkara reads, "Mara stands in front of Riven, Riven of 1,000 voices. The last known Ahamkara. Her death was your calling." The use of was in the past tense side of things, not to mention the fact that we've never seen Mara stand in front of Riven like this before, it makes it seem as though Riven is not truly dead. I don't know if that is the case, of course, and this is going to be the entire topic of this video really shortly, but yeah, this one promotional image then can link into the teaser.
All wishes come at a cost.
So as you can hear in the trailer, Mara is saying that all wishes come at a cost. But is that really Mara? Because it's got the kind of wobbly notes that you get from the Siren of Riven, which means that that actually might be Riven talking. I think this might be Riven using Mara's voice, as she's been known to do so before. Remember that if you play the Last Wish raid, or if you listen to Riven in any context, she uses a variety of voices. Ikora, Zavala, Crow. All of these different characters have been used by Riven as voices, and Mara is also on that list. So yeah, this might actually just be Riven talking. But what's the evidence that this is Riven, and what's the evidence that Riven could come alive again or could even communicate with us? Well, strangely enough, for Riven in particular as an Ahamkara, there's quite a lot of evidence to state that we could see some interactions with her next season. First of all, we know that the heart of Riven is still intact. Contained by the Techeuns though it may be at the end of the Last Wish raid, it doesn't require some semblance of true life for Riven to communicate with us. Ahamkara can communicate to us through their remains, and if it can happen with claws or spines or skulls or scales, why can't it happen with hearts? This is the important thing about Riven. A part of her remains intact and was able to still fulfill the Last Wish. The Last Wish previously that we knew as the Curse on the Dreaming City. Maybe we're going to require Riven, in some regard, to help fulfill yet another. Now, of course, that does bring the egg back into conversation, but I'm going to talk about that in a moment. The other thing that's worth remembering is that the heart itself is an important part of this equation, but ultimately, I don't think it's contained completely. Read The Bond of the Great Hunt. The first 4 lines are really important. They read, "I am Riven, and I am pleased. The Techeun believe that with my heart in tow I will remain imprisoned, but my bargain with them is fulfilled, and they will pay. This city will pay." Something about that wording really rubs me the wrong way, because it's something that seems to imply that either Riven got what she wanted despite being imprisoned, or that the imprisonment will be a short-lived experience, and that's something that I would keep in mind. And again, we don't know exactly what measures were used by the Techeuns to actually imprison Riven, but if it's something vaguely similar to what was used around the Wishing Wall, we know that there are potential flaws. The Wishing Wall, after all, was something that Riven could use in order to still make bargains, and here we are in this place now, where Riven kind of doubts the nature of the Techeuns' prison that she's been placed in. I don't know if that's the case, but the wording seems to imply it. I guess the next question really ends up being, could Riven break free of her bonds? But if she could, I imagine that we might be the ones to help do that. And maybe this is something that leads back to Riven and Savathun potentially having a deal. We don't know if that's confirmed either, but we do know that somehow Savathun ended up with one of Riven's clutch. And that can't have happened by accident. I have to imagine that Riven had at least some small hand in that. Thirdly, how does this relate to the egg that we recovered from Savathun's oubliette and spire, and the egg that was stowed away by Mara, the one that's taken? If I'm to guess, simply put, an egg needs to be hatched and can only be hatched by a mother. I think we might still need Riven for this process, or at very least to guide us in that process. I've talked before about how there's potential this season for us to build up an Ahamkara as kind of a seasonal mechanic. It's one of those things where we might input various sigils on the Wishing Wall as part of a seasonal activity, and then by the end of it, we might have inputted a wish that will then feed the fledgling Wish Dragon, and if that is the case, slowly we'll be building up that reservoir of power required in order to bring about what we need next. The portal into the heart of the Traveler is something which we're going to be aiming for, but I've also stated, and I imagine it would still truly be the case, that getting through such a portal would require an immense amount of paracausal energy. So we're going to have to wait and see what the reality of that situation is. Regardless, Riven might be needed for this entire process, and if she does come back in any form, that's going to be an incredibly interesting story beat. But this is where I want to throw it all to you. What do you think? Ultimately, Riven is one of those characters that had a major impact in Forsaken but has not really been touched since. And nothing is confirmed yet. We will need to wait and see when trailers and more stuff from the season comes out. As a note as well, we are creating that massive third part to the Complete Story of Dragons series. That's with Martin right now, and it's just a big video, so it takes a while to edit those things. Expect that out tomorrow, but for the time being, let me know what you think of this. Do you reckon Riven is going to return? If she is, I certainly wouldn't complain. Riven is one of the more beloved characters in my mind, simply because of how fantastic the raid experience was, and because of how utterly groundbreaking the events that she caused were. She is part of the reason, alongside Savathun, that we have the Curse on the Dreaming City, so it would be very interesting to see her interact yet again with Mara Sov and with all the other characters. A reunion between her and Crow would certainly be interesting. I think he would be equally unexcited to meet her Ahamkara form as he was to meet her one taken Chimera from the end of Forsaken's campaign. Either way, as I stated, we still need to see, and if you have thoughts, go ahead and leave them down below in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and leave a like, and hit the bell next to subscribe and the subscribe button so that you can keep up with all of the content from Season of the Wish. But as per usual, know that your viewership, as always, is quite enough for me. And that in the meantime, my name is Byf. Parodacia ad Astra. I'll see you, Starside.